Now, what's interesting here is that you're not going to see the name Antichrist here in chapter 13. In fact, you won't see the name Antichrist throughout the book of Revelation. Antichrist is a name that comes from 1 John, and John uses that to name people who are against Christ. And indeed, the Antichrist is the greatest person against Christ. But instead of the Antichrist, the Bible uses different names for this person. It uses the name Little Horn in Daniel. It uses the name Son of Perdition or Son of Destruction in 2 Thessalonians. It also uses the name Man of Lawlessness. So these are all names of this person that we call the Antichrist. So if you want to be really specific, it's true. The Antichrist, that term isn't in the Bible, but the Antichrist certainly is. And if you prefer to call him the beast or the little horn or the man of lawlessness, that's fine, go ahead. But it is the exact same person as the Antichrist. So we're going to call him the Antichrist, and as we look through Revelation 13, we're going to see certain things about this Antichrist. In fact, what we're going to see specifically is that what he wants to do is he is truly the Antichrist, and he wants to be a new Christ. He wants to be the Messiah. When we look at Satan and when we look at what he's trying to accomplish, what we see is that he is trying to be like God. And part of that being like God is being triune. Now, of course, Satan himself isn't triune as God is triune. There is one God, and that one God is three persons, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But we'll notice that because Satan can't actually be triune, he's going to try to create his own Trinity. And he's going to be equal to the Father in his own eyes, but he's going to have his Antichrist who is going to take the place of the Son. Later, we're going to see how the false prophet is going to take the place of the Holy Spirit, in which case we see Satan, the Antichrist, and the false prophet as the unholy Trinity. So we're going to see here that Antichrist is going to do everything he can to imitate the actual Christ. It started all the way back in chapter 6. If you remember, at the very beginning of the tribulation, it starts at the first sealed judgment. And the first sealed judgment opens up to see a white horse and a rider on the white horse. And we had made the point back then that that was not Christ. Christ will be coming on a white horse in chapter 19, but this is Antichrist imitating Christ on the white horse in chapter 6. So here we see Antichrist is going to continue to try to imitate the real Christ. And we're going to see he has power that comes from Satan. So he's going to use that power to perform great miracles, just like Christ did. In Daniel, we see that this person is going to come as a man of peace. He's going to draw up a peace agreement with Israel, and it's going to be a 7-year peace agreement. At this point in chapter 13, we are in the midpoint of that 7-year period. And what we're going to see is though he comes as a man of peace, he actually isn't a man of peace. He's going to break that peace agreement at this 3.5-year point. But remember, Jesus is the Prince of Peace. So Antichrist comes as a man of peace. He's going to do whatever it takes to imitate Jesus. In fact, the one thing that we recognize that we know Jesus is the Son of God is the resurrection. We see Jesus die, crucified, buried, and rise from the dead. And so Antichrist is actually going to do that exact same thing. As we read in chapter 13, we see that he has a wound, but it's not just a wound, it's a fatal wound. And fatal wound means that you're dead, but it's a fatal wound that is healed, which means that he was dead, but now he's alive again. He imitates that resurrection.